All right. My name is Ethan. I'm just going to be talking about the Buhi presentation. I'm gonna be talking about what I did currently and what I've been doing in order to get the most successful out of the simulation and what have I done. I'm going to go over these things quickly. I hope to really show you what I've done and all the effort that I put into this. First off, we're going to talk about the goals from the CMO. It was to spend the $5,000 budget every week. Recommended to spend 25% of that on content, the other 75% on promotion, grow my brand awareness, increase engagement, and increase sales. I turned that into my own personal goals for that as well. I wanted to increase the following. I felt like if I could increase the following of the brand, it'd be able to help increase the impressions and the engagement. I wanted to bring in revenue. I wanted these posts and all these things that I was doing to actually bring company money in. I wanted to help play my part and do what I could to make sure that Buoy was becoming successful through the social media platform. I want to share the message. I think Buoy has a really special creation. I think their bags mean a lot to a lot of different people, and it's not just like in every other brand. So I want to be able to share that, and then I also wanted to increase in engagement. I wanted these posts to have something behind them. And as I grew and as I did the simulation, I did multiple different things. I felt like I was able to do that. My marketing plan overview was pretty simple. I wanted to post daily. I wanted that to be about 1 to 3 things depending on the platform. And I'll be talking about that in a little bit as well. I wanted to split the organic and the paid. I wanted it to be concise and done for a reason. I wanted to divide the budget on influencers and paid promotions. And then I also wanted to focus on the receptive platforms. I didn't want to keep on pouring money into platforms that needed to be different, altered, or be shown different techniques. My simulation strategy was pretty simple. As for the budget, I split it between 3 and 2, 3,000 every week to influencers. I split it between the mega influencers and the minor ones. I found really successful with a couple different mega influencers that focused on different platforms. And then as the weeks went on, I tried to alter that a little bit and see if I could do 2 or 3 different minor ones. Ultimately, the result was about the same. Then $2,000 every week I put into the actual posts. Most of the posts were free to post, and then I would do 2,000 a week. I would go for about for the actual paid promotions, which I felt like anybody can see the regular post, but I wanted everybody to see that there's been a promotion. I I felt like that would bring people to the website and to the company, and so I did about 2 times a day between all platforms. I wanted to focus on the receptive platforms, and pretty quickly I found out that was Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And the promotions, like I said, I wanted to use the promotions to really bring people in and then apply it on certain days, such as 4th of July, winter promotions, Christmas promotions, summer promotions, all of that. My target audience. Um, I found that the target audience between Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, they like the short comments, the short little underneath the post. I posted between 8 and 10 in the AM, 12 to 3 p.m., and then 4 to 6 p.m. And I did that every single day between Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I posted to the other platforms every day as well, but I started to really focus on these three. And then I started to focus on the content that was applicable. So if it was back to school, I would do back to school posts and I would talk about back to school backpacks. If it was summer, I'd talk about fanny packs and the new stuff that we'd have. So I tried to make sure that everything was together. The secret sauce. I found out that my secret sauce, or at least what I found successful, was that if I could mix the influencers and the post together in this formula that I was doing, it led to great success. I was getting lots of revenue in the posts that I had, and I had so much engagement from the influencers that I chose. And both of those combined really felt like it was doing exactly what the Buoy CMO had asked me to do. Chosen channel. So I wanted to show some of the reports from my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. As you can see, I had 35,495,000 total impressions on Instagram, and that turned into 356,000 revenue. Facebook, pretty similar. I had 3 million total revenue, and that translated to 100,000 revenue. And then I had 1 million impressions on Twitter, and that related to 86,000 revenue. So obviously, I received a lot of revenue from the other channels, but nothing near as successful as these ones. You can see that little dip between week 08 and 18. That's because that was the week that we were asked to do influencers only, and that went down pretty significantly. However, you can see after that it goes up and down. and it stays pretty consistent, and then it drops off at the very end. That very end, I try to see if I could just do influencers, but put between 5. It didn't work. I wanted to see if there was anything special I could do. And then there's also a little dip at 12:03. The reason for that is that was also a time that I try to focus on influencers. So as you can see, I found the most, amount of like continual success between '06 and 102, and that was due to the fact that I was doing influencers for $3,000 and then posts for $2,000. The crisis. So this is the Taylor Swift crisis, I like to call it, where she found the note in her bag, and we were given kind of just the mantle and told how to figure it out. So the breakdown is Taylor Swift was shopping in Hollywood Hills. She found a note basically saying that this Buhi worker was in prison, that the sweatshop was in prison, and that it was horrible labor conditions, all these things. Immediately, what came to my mind when I was told that this was going to be my job to fix. I wanted to be professional. I wanted to be considerate, so I stopped all of the posts on all the platforms except for a short couple ones on Twitter, where I addressed that Buhi was aware of the problem, that we were getting down to the solution. I stopped promotions. I stopped posts between that day and the next day. The day after that, I continued with some Twitter updates, where I felt like Twitter was the place where most companies go to announce things. I announced that Buhi was working with law enforcement, that we treat all of our employees the same, and that we have a very high respect for all of them. This was a problem that I had with the classes. We weren't told if it was true or not, so I took the route that it wasn't. So I continued to just do small Twitter updates, no posts, nothing like that. And then after 5 days, I announced that Buhi had come to the conclusion with law enforcement that it wasn't true, and that note was a hoax. And the aftermath is I had a video go on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as YouTube of our CEO speaking about the issue. And then I also had a focus film that was about 35 minutes long on YouTube that was directed to how our employees are treated, and went across all of them, warehouses that we use. So that's how I handled that resolution. I'm not sure how I would have handled it if it was true. Personally, I feel like if that really came out and Buhi had, workers that were in prison, all these things, I don't know how they would really find a resolution to that without shutting down large sections of their company going under, especially in the day we live in today. I feel like if that were to happen in real life, that company would probably have to go bankrupt pretty soon with all the anti-material that would come out against it. Company growth, I just wanted to go over this super quickly, talk about how I did in the class. I ended up ranking 6th. I feel like I would have been higher if I figured out customer satisfaction is 4 out of 5 stars. I wasn't sure what that section was in the simulation until after. So that first one cost me a star. I had 56 million impressions, 2 million engagements, 674,000 clicks, 1.19 CTR, 0.07 CPC, 616 100,000 shares. I had 111,000 new followers, which I thought was decent. I would have liked to see that number go up a little bit more. And then with conversions, I had 20,000, and then ultimately I ended up just at 700,000 revenue. I would have loved to end with about 200,000 followers and then 1 million in revenue. Unfortunately, I feel like in those first couple of weeks, as you can see in these posts, these first couple of weeks between 10:18 and 11:03, I was still trying to figure out what was the best way to go about it. But ultimately, I figured it out and ended up 6th in the class. I wanted to end up 5th, but someone came up and took over me. I just want to say thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that I adhered to all the rules and I was able to do the best I could with this mantle for Buhi content creation. So thank you.